All right. Welcome to the W2W Review Live Edition. I am the Oakland Knight, and then joining me as always is the Raider Pirate. What's up, Pirate?
What's going on, Raider Nation?
All right, Raider Nation. We have a different format today. We're running a live W2W Review broadcast. Main reason why is I've had a lot of stuff going on today. I mentioned Sunday that my dad had back surgery on Saturday. He came home yesterday. Just about an hour ago, close to an hour ago. He has some complications here at home. His blood pressure dropped. He got real clammy. He wasn't feeling good. So we had to call the paramedics. So we just didn't have enough time to set up the cameras and do what we do. I'm going to have to get my daughter later on this afternoon and head to the hospital. So, just to keep on our daily format, we jumped on live. We can hammer this out. We don't have to do a lot of editing and whatnot. And we're just going to stay consistent and bring some Raider content to you guys today. So welcome to the W2W Review Live Edition. Pirate, what do you got for us today?
Just echoing that sentiment, man. Hopefully your dad is doing better. This is why, again, not necessarily why we did it. We did it obviously because the Knight is going to be going to Disneyland with his daughter. He's going to be doing some daddy-daughter time at the most magical place in the world. But these types of things might happen too, man. I might break my foot or something goes on, and that's why we wanted people to try to come on in the event of something like this. We've got an alternate. So hopefully everything goes okay, man. Hopefully your dad's doing all right. Please, everybody, stop sending in your emails. We made the mistake of actually putting it out there, to send in stuff. We got over 20 people. We're not trying to have somebody take over the show. What we were trying to do is say, hey, if, when Knight is gone, if somebody wanted to come on as a guest host, it would be kind of cool. But we got, 20 different people that are like, yeah, man, I want to be part of it. I want to be part of the Will to Win. I think what Knight was saying wasn't if you want to be part of the Will to Win.
Correct.
In terms of, being part of the Daily Show, that wasn't the case. Because like I said, we I was surprised. And to each and every one of you, we're going to get back to you guys and let you know, and we appreciate it. So, that being said, again, I want to put it out there. Hopefully your dad is doing okay. And, to all the people that responded, we're really appreciative. We just love all of the people that are backing us up. I mean, it is so cool, to have a base like that are excited about what's going on. And once again, wanted to be part of the premier Oakland Raider broadcast. So we appreciate that. So let's get into it, man. I don't know what your time frame is. And once again, appreciate the dedication for you coming on here. I don't know what your time frame is, how much time you got in between time and in the meantime. But let's talk some Raider football.
No, absolutely. And I think we'll start off by just kind of touching base on the Jack Del Rio post-game conference. But, we're going to take the advice of one Watts a Raider. And, we're kind of done. The Raider. We're kind of done with the whole, Raiders, at Tennessee bit. I mean, we kind of get the gist of what happened, what's going on, where we improved on, where we were let down. So we don't need to harp on that. But there was a couple of things that really stuck out in this press conference. And, guys, we're going to kind of skip over the Marcel Reese thing. I'm sure he'll come up in certain points that we have to make. But, we have to move on. As fans, we have to move on and focus on the now. So let's go ahead and start with that part. Let me get your thoughts on Jack was talking about the fact that we had 8 rookies. I'm going to say it again, guys. 8 rookies throughout this lineup in Sunday's matchup. That's what we need to focus on. It's not so much about the past. It's our future. What's your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, I mean, the youth movement is definitely here. I mean, you take a look at this football team, and again, this shows you the multitude of what Jack Del Rio brings to the table. People that say he's a defensive coach, he's this, he's that. Look, a defensive coach is going to want to win with his defense. He's going to want to run the ball. He's going to want to be conservative. He's going to want to stay in games. Very much what we saw from Malarkey and Dick LeBeau. There's a reason why that it goes back to the Steelers. It goes back to the Green Bay Packers. Ground and pound. Let's have 3 or 4 different runs. Let's have great defense, and let's play field position. Well, it didn't work out that way for the Tennessee Titans. And again, like Watts Raider said, we're past that. We're past Marcel Reese. We're talking about this new group. But I think it's important to kind of frame this conversation and say, a defensive-minded coach is going to do that. He's going to try to grow this team. He's going to take it very, very slow. He's not going to put it in the hands of his playmakers, and he's certainly not going to put a bunch of rookies out there. Jack Del Rio has grown. Excuse me, man. I feel like I'm at the presidential debates right now. I feel like I'm Hillary Clinton. But
Yeah.
anyway, the bottom line is what he's doing right now is he's saying, look, I get it. There's problems with this particular defense, and it's time for us to make some changes. You take a look at all 3 levels, like we talked about: Darius Latham, Jihad Ward, both guys that were drafted by Reggie McKenzie. Both, I think, are going to be great pickups, particularly when we get guys like Aldon Smith and Edwards back. Middle of the field, you're talking about Corey James, who came in and had a good day. Can he continue that? We don't know. But you know what? Had a good day, did what we needed to do to win a very, very important game. You look at Carl Joseph, and then once again, you start sprinkling in guys at every single layer of this defense from free agency. And again, this is what, people want to attack Reggie McKenzie, but you said it time and time again. Reggie McKenzie is not trying to build this team through free agency. He's trying to have at every single level leadership. And I think that's what people are mistaking at this point. You look at the front of that line, you look at a guy like Dan Williams. We don't know what happened, but he's a leader. He's obviously a guy that can go in there and get it done if given the opportunity. Malcolm Smith comes over from Seattle, and he's done nothing but be a tackling machine. Excellent, excellent leader. What we've got in Bruce Irvin, we don't know at this point. We will see. But again, another guy, another rah-rah type guy that understands how to win. Reggie Nelson coming in here from a team like Cincinnati, having success, understanding how to play aggressive, how to play fast, understanding who Jack Del Rio is. But again, the youth movement is the exciting thing. You get these guys sprinkled in, but the talent that we have, the playmakers that we have on all 3 levels of this defense should make every single Raider fan incredibly happy. It's a horrible thing what happened with Marcel Reese. I know we all love Marcel Reese, and once again, we're past that. We don't want to rehash that and get into what there's a million sites out there right now talking about it. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to talk about what we've got moving forward in the future. We got to get past George Atkinson III. We got to get past people that Kauser and all those types of people that are not here right now, and focus on this football team. So I kind of rambled on there a little bit, but go ahead, partner.
No, that's the greatness, and that's why I think it's a good idea that we touch base.
I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate
What's that? Oh, yeah,
I appreciate you saying that.
No problem. No problem. It's
right, I'm just trying to cheer you up.
Hey, man, you know what? I'm still in good spirits, man. This team is, Al Davis once said, the greatness of the Raiders is in its future. And that's the era we're entering right now. The greatness of the Raiders is in its future. And when you look at this roster, the 8 people that I mentioned, right? You got Johnny Holton, Washington, Richard, Latham, Calhoun, Ward, Carl Joseph, Corey James. That's 8. That's 8 players that are an integral part of this team. And some of those guys are undrafted. You got Richard, you got Latham, you got Holton, all these guys undrafted, and they're contributing on this football team. And we're 3 weeks in. So our goal at this point is, we talked a lot about in the offseason, our expectations were set extremely high. And I always said, what happens when optimism meets reality? Well, 3 weeks in, we don't know. All I do know is that we've had our ups and downs, but we're sitting at 2-1. We're 2-1. We're a game over 500. We're heading into Baltimore. We got a great handful of young, talented rookies that are developing. They're having the opportunity right now to get a lot of snaps, develop into the NFL, and we're winning football games. And it is so crucial because coming up now, like I said, the era that we're in now is all about keeping our own and what the foundation of this team is. And right now, in my opinion, the foundation of this team moving forward is Derek Carr, Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper, and basically in that order, because that's the way the big contracts are going to fall. So we're constantly making decisions right now that not only sets us up to be productive and competitive in the future, but being able to set ourselves up economically to move forward and sustain this success. That's exactly what Green Bay does. That's exactly what Reggie McKenzie learned in Green Bay, is to always think ahead, to always have your board set to where I'm looking for this. I need this kind of money to the side. I got these players now, and he's doing a wonderful job. And you're seeing the fruits of his labor, even in small increments. Now, like you said, Reggie attacked again about these free agents. We're 3 weeks into the season. And the first 2 weeks, yeah, we could have sat here and we could have just threw tomatoes at Reggie Nelson, Bruce Irvin, and Sean Smith. But then those guys showed up last week, even in a small integral part, right? We don't need these guys to be Pro Bowlers week 4, but they showed up in week 3, and, all 3 of those guys created turnovers. Sean Smith had a pick, Nelson had a pick, and Bruce Irvin caused a fumble. So, again, they're showing their ability to make plays. They got to develop. We know what they did in Kansas City. We know what they did in Cincinnati. We know what they did in Seattle. Now it's about becoming a Raider, and they have to get used to the personnel around them too. And last week was a sign of things to come, in my opinion, at least the opportunities there. We could look at it today and say, hey, we don't have to worry about these 3 guys maybe like we thought. They're developing. They're out there making plays. It was just really ironic that it was those 3 guys that got those 3 turnovers. It's pretty ironic. But, your kind of thoughts, Pirate, on where we're at and where we're moving forward to.
Well, again, excellent points. I think that if you take a look at what's going on in the big picture, the AFC picture, and it's early on, when there's only 1 or 2 games that separate you from your competition, it's usually early on. Now, the AFC West has had a history of that, continuing late into the season because there was just horrendous play. The San Diego Chargers winning it at 8-8, or 9-7. And Carolina Panthers winning it at 7-9, having a losing record and still winning your division. But if you take a look, excuse me, again, I have no idea. Perhaps I have the Zika virus. I don't know. But if you take a look at it right now, you've got the New England Patriots 3-0 right now, and I don't think anybody thought the New England Patriots would be 3-0. Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe. You start getting down to your 3rd string quarterback. Yeah, okay. Now you got the New York Jets, 1-2. Miami Dolphins, 1-2. Buffalo Bills, 1-2. And we play the Buffalo Bills, right? Baltimore Ravens, 3-0. They lead their division right now. Okay, Pittsburgh Steelers, 2-1. Okay, we have the same record as the Pittsburgh Steelers at this point. Cincinnati Bengals 1-2, Houston Texans 2-1. But I think everybody knows this is a team that's struggling right now, and we play the Houston Texans. We beat the Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans are only 1 game back from being tied for first place in their division at this point. We play the Indianapolis Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 0-3 at this point. Okay, the Denver Broncos 3-0. I don't think anybody thought Trevor Siemian was going to go in and do the types of things he's doing. That defense is the real deal. We all know that. Kansas City Chiefs 2-1. Raiders 2-1. I don't think people quite understand. Right now, New England 3-0. Baltimore 3-0. There is no 3-0 team in the South. There's a 3-0 team in the West, and then 2-1 teams, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders. Right now, we've got, Pittsburgh obviously is at 2-1, but we're holding steam right now. We're holding steam. This is a game that we could have lost. Let's face it, we could have lost this football game. So, once again, like I said, we're in a good position right now with a young team sprinkled in with good veterans, not veterans like what the Philadelphia Eagles did. They tried to bring in people to be the main pieces of their offense. If you look at this offense, if you look at this defense, the offense, I mean, I think that's its own conversation. But if you take a look at the offense, every single thing that Reggie McKenzie has done on this offense, you have to say has been a home run. Everything. Okay. So defensively, yeah, you could question some of the things that he's done. And you could question in the past bringing in guys like Schaub and that guy from fucking Seattle. Pardon my language. See, live. This is the problem with live.
Kirkland.
No. I'm talking about the quarterback that they brought in from Seattle. So you could take a look. He spent a lot of money on quarterbacks, didn't quite get it there. Brought in the edge rusher from Pittsburgh didn't quite work out there. So there have been some miscues, there have been some mistakes. But if you take a look at this team offensively, you draft a guy like Derek Carr, you draft a guy like Latavius Murray, and the other two running backs, DeAndre Washington and also Richard. Okay, you have a guy, Ala Wally, that you're bringing up, you're grooming. You look at the left tackle position, you bring in a guy through free agency in Donald Penn. You look at the left guard position, you bring in a guy in Asamelli. I don't think anybody's sitting there going like, oh, it's not working out. I think it's working out, right? It took a little bit.
No.
Took a little bit for him to realize, I can't be biting. I can't go Mike Tyson on people. I can't grab somebody and bite his ear off on the field. But he's getting it. Rodney Hudson, again, is another guy brought in through free agency. You take a look at, a guy that was drafted, right? Two guys that were drafted on the right side of that line. You look at even the tight end brought in through free agency. I don't like Lee Smith, not because I don't think he's a good person, not because I don't think he's a good football player, just because I think he's a one-dimensional type of guy. And I think that there's more talent like Clive Walford. I have no idea why we're not using Michael Rivera. Again, head scratcher, but whatever. And then you look at bringing in a guy like Michael Crabtree. You got a guy in Amari Cooper who you drafted. Seth Roberts, a free agent. You got another guy that you brought in through free agency in Holmes. And you got another guy that was undrafted, a gem that you found in Johnny Holton that is contributing, even if it's just as sort of a decoy type of guy. You look at this offense. This offense is brilliantly put together. I can't find a glaring weakness where Reggie McKenzie made a big-time, huge mistake. Like I said, looking at the schedule, looking at this offense, and looking at the defense now that we're going to be going into this youth movement, particularly with the types of coaches that we have, I think it's going to be a good deal, man.
No, and you got to look at it from this standpoint too. Not only has he brought in the proper talent, but we're set up and we got depth. And when you look at this defensive line, for example, Dan Williams, Khalil Mack, Bruce Irvin plays up there a lot, even they got him at linebacker. There's room for it to grow. We have not seen Mario Edwards Jr. not only this year, but we saw him in a limited role last year because of injury. So, even with him being a question mark on his health, you got developing players like Latham, Ward, Calhoun, and let's not forget about Cowser. You brought up Cowser, but let's not forget this guy went on season-ending IR, which most likely means, from everything that I understand, he's not going nowhere else. So he'll be back in off-season practices and training camp. And I believe right now, because with the concussion, it was for a concussion, from what we understand, he could still work out. He could still diet. That's not going to affect his concussion. So this guy has got a list of things that he could work on. And this guy is going to come in shape, stronger, faster, and he will be a part of this team. So even moving forward, you got guys in the back room. There's a receiver, and his name slipped in my mind. Pirate. What was the guy that was competing with Johnny Holton that we thought had a chance? Was it? I think it started with a B.
Yeah, well, there were a couple of guys that we really never got a chance to look at. Jaden Mickens. Holton. There were a number of guys I think that we thought had some potential. We were way wrong on Max McCaffrey. Obviously, the team cut ties with him and didn't want anything to do with him. For what reason? I don't know. We didn't, see enough. But Jaden Mickens definitely. And he's on the practice. I think that's who you're talking about. He's on the practice.
Well, no, there was another one too that was a possession receiver that was actually catching a lot of balls from Connor Cook. And his name's slipping my mind right now.
Oh, yeah. You're right. Oh God, you're right. The big kid, the big 6'2". Oh God, that came out of nowhere. Yeah, I can't. It's slipping my mind right now.
Got too many things running through my head. Yeah, but there's a ton of depth. Young, talented depth with very low contracts. This team is, when we go into free agency, do not look for Reggie to be heavily active this free agency. Okay. I've said it before. Yeah, we're looking a little ahead, but even in the draft, he could be more selectful in what he's going to attack, developing pieces, because there's so much young talent we're already developing. If Alden Smith gets the clearance and is able to come back, that's just going to bolster up this linebacking core. It's going to bolster up our pass rush. We've got a slew of guys. And the reason I'm bringing all this up and looking into the future like that is because 3 weeks into the season, we find ourselves a game over 500. Baltimore's going to be a huge game, guys. I mean, this team is a more balanced attack than we faced last season. They were struggling. They're not struggling. I mean, if you look at their last week game, I mean, they put up like 17 points, whatever. This is a team that's going to be a threat, but I think we match up well with them. So we go into Baltimore, we pull off a victory again. With each passing week that we're able to piece this thing together, especially defensively, and the offense continues to grow and develop with these young players like Holton, Richard, and Washington, getting the tight end involved. Carr's already spreading the ball around. The future is bright. And I think that is the key here, is the future. Regardless, I know everybody's optimisms. It's all about, even if it's a wild card spot, to get that this year. But let's be a little realistic right now and say, we only go 9-7 and we missed the playoffs. We missed the wild card spot. Huge success at this point. I think I want to address that because you have to look at what we have developed. Eight rookies, 3 of them undrafted on this roster right now, with some guys sitting on the practice squad and on injured reserve that are going to come back and be a dominant force probably in training camp next year and make things really interesting as we move forward. And the real life talk when it comes to football rosters is nothing's guaranteed. We've seen that. We've seen that in Valdir. We've seen that in C.O. Moore, Lamar Houston, and most recently Marcel Reese. As these guys age, we live in a day in the NFL where nothing's guaranteed. Look at the great team the 49ers had even as they entered the 90s. Montana played for another team. Jerry Rice played for another team. Ronnie Lott, Craig. Now, some of these guys played for us. So, you can't keep everybody forever. Very rarely do you have a player that lasts his entire career, unless it's quarterback. Even Brett Favre went a couple of different places. Peyton Manning went somewhere else. So, I mean, this is the league. Joe Montana. These are the league. This is the way the league is developed. So I try not to, tie my passion into one player these days, because I know that I'm setting myself possibly up for heartbreak. So I just look at this roster and we got some key guys we're going to sign. We got some key guys we're going to keep moving forward. And this young talent that's built up around it. I mean, look how secure we are. Let's look at offense real fast and I'll kick it back to you. We're going to sign Derek Carr. Derek Carr is already on his way. He's almost at 1,000 yards 3 weeks into the season. He's almost thrown for 1,000 yards. So Carr's going to be the focal point. Then you got Cooper. After that, I mean, Clive Walford, Richard, Washington. We got a slew, like the guys you were talking about, Fidel Alexander, John Feliciano, Gabe Jackson, McCants even. There's a lot of these guys that we got at a cheap rate that are not going to be due contracts. We got developing time. These guys are already playing. Look what Fidel Alexander was able to do last week. That doesn't mean he's great and I want him there every week, but he's getting a ton of experience right now, which is going to help him in year 2. So again, this team is set up, even no matter what happens this season. Look, our goal is still to make the playoffs. Our goal is still to win the division. And we're on track for that right now. We're keeping pace. But 2017, it really is going to be the year that this team has the most potential to come out swinging on all cylinders. But man, I mean, I know I've been the biggest Reggie McKenzie advocate, and I'm going to do it again. What an amazing job when you break it down position by position, player by player. This guy has hit so many home runs, man. That's why the optimism's so high. That is exactly why we think we have the chance to even be a playoff team this year, is because of the players that he brought in. That collective unit, Jack Del Rio, part of it too, Ken Norton having some swaying power with guys like Bruce Irvin. But at the end of the day, Reggie signing the contracts, Reggie's developing what number that he's going to pay, and it's all playing out in a positive way. Pirate?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, and KJ Brent was the wide receiver we're talking about, 6 foot, 202 pounds from Wake Forest. But you take a look at the practice squad. Only one guy has experience. Only one guy has actually been playing in the league, and that was Corey Toomer. And they didn't bring up Corey Toomer, which tells you they really feel like he's not quite prepared. And a guy like Corey James is perhaps prepared. That kept him on, and he came in and he did the things that he needed to do. It's unfortunate they changed the defense. They freed up the responsibilities, so it's unfortunate to Ben Heaney. They had a particular plan that they were going to use with him, and you got to change the plan, right? And it reminds me again of for example, if you're playing, like, I go to my nephew's house every once in a while, and we'll watch a game or whatever, and afterwards he'll throw on the Xbox and we'll play some Madden, and I'll play with Derek Carr, and I'll be throwing the ball all over the field, and then I'll try to run or something, and he'll tackle me, and Derek Carr will get injured, and then they bring in Matt McGloin. Now I'm going to try to run the ball. I'm going to try to I'm going to change the whole offense to make sure that I can take advantage of some mismatches and different types of things. Same thing with Ben Heaney. You tried to do everything with this guy. He couldn't do it. You bring in Corey James. You simplify the defense, and now Ben Heaney's scratching his head like, I could have done that. I could have done that. You know what I mean? So that's the unfortunate part. But once again, if you take a look at what Reggie McKenzie's doing, Reggie McKenzie is building a farm system. I know we're used to hearing that in baseball, not so much used to hearing it in football, but take a look at the practice squad. KJ Brent, Kenneth Durden, that we all thought was doing a tremendous job, before they cut him. Brandon Jackson, Denver Kirkland, who again is another extremely talented guard. This is a big time player. 6'4", 335 pounds. I was excited. I watched him at Arkansas. This is a player. This guy is going to be a player moving into the future. Jaden Mickens, explosive returner. I think they felt like they had all the returners they needed, and they had the receivers that they needed. But this kid is going to play. Ryan O'Malley, it remains to be seen. But again, 6'6", 250, 260-pound tight end. This guy has some potential. Omioli or Asameli's cousin. I don't know how to pronounce that. Again, another big-time guard, big-time mauler, doesn't have a lot of technique. And then you got Corey Toomer. So you're looking at some of the guys on this practice squad, including Kauser, like you said, who's going to come back, right? Neron Ball at this point, season-ending IR, right? And they obviously they waived him, but it doesn't really matter. They still have the rights to these particular players. I don't know about Neron Ball, but I know that Kauser will be coming back. He's a guy that can add some pass rush. I think they thought that they had all the pass rush that they needed, and they were wrong. I think they also knew that, if we cut this guy, he's going to get picked up. So like you said in the past, and you called it, let's say the concussion is something that is really bothering this kid, and let's keep him in the wings and continue working with him and give him an opportunity to do something. But that leads into the schedule again, like that we're talking about. We've got an opportunity here. We got Baltimore coming up. We got San Diego, Kansas City, and Jacksonville. We got 4 games coming up in conference, right? A couple of games in division. But once again, Baltimore right now is at the top of their division. If we can beat them, that puts another notch in the belt. Obviously, it helps us out. It moves us up in our own standings, but it will also give us a tiebreaker. The San Diego Chargers, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, who, again, it's not a sexy pick, but this is the team that I worry about much more so, I think, than Denver. I think, yes, right now, nobody knows who Trevor Siemian is. I think obviously teams are going to figure out who he is as we move deeper and deeper into the season. But we know what Kansas City has, and people still just can't seem to beat this football team. Jacksonville, sexy pick. Folks, think about it. This could be us. Win the offseason, win free agency, 0-3, right? That could be who the Raiders are at this point. That's not who we are. We're 2-1 at this point. We're relevant at this point in the season. And that's something. We got, then again, we've got that Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, 2 tough road games. Then we got the Denver Broncos, at the O.co, and that's going to be a big game. That's a prime time game. We move into the bye. Houston Texans, again, we play the Houston Texans. They're in charge of their division at this point. I can go down the list and I could say we lose to the Buccaneers, we lose to the Panthers, and we lose to the Falcons. Let's just say we lose to all 3 of those teams, and we could throw the Saints in there. Even if we just beat the teams we have to beat, the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Indianapolis Colts, who are showing that they're not a powerhouse. If we split one with the Denver Broncos, we're still in a good position, even with a defense that has done the types of things that we've done up until this point. Jack Del Rio showed last year that he can readjust. He can understand that the winds are blowing in a certain direction. He can get back in control of this particular ship. and steer us into clearer waters. I think it's looking good. Like I said, with the future, like you're talking about, if you take a look at the guys that we're developing, the guys that we're bringing along, you take a look at the guys that are there for leadership at this point, and then you take a look at how this particular schedule. There's a lot of travel, but how the schedule plays out. There's the chance for us to get into the playoffs. There's the chance for us to do what the Colts did, which is get into the playoffs and actually shock the hell out of the world and maybe beat somebody that people don't think that we could beat, and then come back from that point forward and continue to be a team because of the way that they're building, because of the way our general manager is positioning us with the types of players that we need depth-wise to make a long run going into the future.
No, absolutely. And I need to rein it back in a little bit. I understand. I got too excited about the future, and we got to stay in the present because we're 3 weeks in. And you brought up some great points. I mean, we handle Baltimore, then we got to go, we get San Diego at home. And then we go back on the road, back to back Florida games. It's already been announced. We're going to be staying in Florida for those 2 weeks. So I think that's going to help us out. But we got some winnable games here, some challenging games. And the only reason we're considering it challenging at this moment is because we don't exactly know where our defense sits. But like you said, Jack Del Rio corrected it last year. In 1 week, he did a great turnaround with this team. We got ran on. Yeah, we got ran on, but we shored up our pass defense. And as the season continues, again, we have opportunities. There's two huge opportunities for our defense in the future this year. Number one is the return of Mario Edwards Jr., which we all feel is going to change the way our pass rush, especially up the middle, takes place. And then, we got to wait it out and see, what Godell wants to do with Aldon Smith. But if we get those two guys back, we know we're going to get one of them back. But if we get both those guys back, the depth of this football team just increases once again. And it's going to help improve. It's not going to fix our problems, but this offense is holding it down. I have not seen one glaring weakness in our offense. What? Penalties, a couple of drop passes. I mean, those things are going to happen, but we still found a way to win the game. This offense in the first 3 weeks has shown its dominance. It can strike all over the field, and they're going to have their games where we only put up 17 points. Hell, we might only get 10 points. Who knows? And that's where we need our defense to catch up as soon as possible. But 9 out of 10 times, this offense is obviously going to put up at least 20 points. That gives us a chance each week that we play a game. So I'm excited, man. And in this schedule, I said it in the offseason too. Don't overlook Denver's defense. Yes, they lost some key players. So the difference between the Denver Broncos this year and last year is when it comes to their defense is they're not the great defense. They're not that defense. You go, oh my, they're just a juggernaut. But what they are is an extremely good defense. And that's just as scary. Now they got a quarterback running Kubiak's system. You see how that's already changed the way that they play offense. And I said, to be the best, you got to beat the best. I'm excited. I can't wait. And I'm glad that Denver is not, in the next few weeks. We got another, 3 or 4 weeks, on another month to really work on our defense, and we get our defense up to snuff. And I'm not talking top 10. I'm not even talking top 15 defense. I'm talking maybe top 20 defense. And this offense continues to grow. Denver don't scare me. Denver, it's going to be a tough game. I'm not saying that we're better than Denver. I'm saying they just don't scare me as long as we fix our defensive woes. Pirate.
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, on that, Denver has an elite pass rusher and they've got elite cornerbacks. And when you have that, you're most likely you're going to be okay. But there are pieces in the middle of that field that you can attack. And this offense, if we continue to spread it out, is going to be able to do just that.
Exactly.
Look, we've gone against Drew Brees. We've gone, Atlanta ran the exact same system that we're going to be facing in Denver. And then last week, once again, we had a quarterback that would roll out, pitch the ball, do certain things, and then throw the ball back to his tight end. So these are all staples of that particular type of offense. So we're learning from that, right? That's what Denver's going to do. You have to remember, this is a guy that took Matt Schaub and made Matt Schaub into a all-pro quarterback. You don't need a great quarterback to run this system. You need an efficient quarterback. You need a mobile quarterback. You need an athletic quarterback. And you need a quarterback that can be fairly accurate. You do not need a Derek Carr to run this particular type of offense. That's the beauty of what Kubiak is trying to do. So, but once again, our defense is learning early on. We can't bite on this. This is what Jack Del Rio is talking about with the eye violations. Oh, I see him running that way. I'm just going to run after him. No, you got to pay attention to what the guard is doing. Does the guard move to the left? Does the guard move to the right? Is the guard pulling? Is there a cutback lane? Is it designed to attack exactly what it is that you're doing? And are you putting your defense in danger of a big play by biting on these things? As we learn from these particular types of things, it's going to be much easier to go in there and play against a Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian is not Mariota. And once again, everybody can talk all they want about Marcus Mariota. This is a talented quarterback. We saw him come
Absolutely.
out. We saw him drive right down the field. We saw him throw some good passes. He's got the ability to get outside. He can run. Yeah, he made some mistakes. That's going to happen to young quarterbacks in the National Football League. This is not, Washington, USC, North Dakota State. It's the National Football League. So you're going to have to get in there and you're going to have to play sound football. You're going to have to protect the ball. But once again, we're getting that experience early on. And now that we're bringing these kids in, we're going to be doing some different things with these guys. So once again, it's in our hands. I mean, I will look at the future and say we have the potential to do some of these things. We play all of the guys that are the main guys at this point, right? So once again, if you kind of take a look at it, we're going to play Baltimore. We're going to play the Denver Broncos. We're going to play the Houston Texans. We're going to play the Indianapolis Colts. We've got the opportunity to match up against these football teams. And if we beat them, there's nothing that's going to hold us out. Now, let's get real quick here. I know we've been running a little hot and heavy here, but let's get to I normally don't do this because we normally don't have a lot of time, but there is a lot of love going on in this chat section over here. Juan Tiscareno says, is there going to be a show later? This is the show, brother man. This is the show. Hector Ortega, the Ghost Raider, says, what's up, guys? Hope your pops is feeling better. So thank you. Raider Beast, hope your dad gets better night. And Roger Mark says, healing vibes to your pop night. Raider Al says, I hope a speedy recovery to your father, man. All of you guys, man. That's super cool. Raider Beast said, Matt Flynn. There you go. Yeah, Matt Flynn. Yeah, mistake, right? Roger Mark says defensive stats would have been even more impressive if there had been less drive-killing drops of perfectly thrown passes. Agree to that. Hopefully that was just due to the weather. I think, and we've talked about that in depth, I think we left a lot of points on the field. Again, KJ Brent, yes, thank you very much. We both blew the brain fart on that. And Rafael Salazar says, what's up? What's up, Rafael? Or Raphael, I don't know how do you Raphael or something like that. I don't know. Roger Mark says, I don't think that we will see the Raiders defense for the first two games again. I don't think we will see the Raiders defense for the first two games again this season. That's sort of past tense in the future. So whatever. Note Raider says, got to fix them flags. They're really hurting us. Agree with that. Agree with that big time. And I've said it before. I think they hurt us way more offensively than they do defensively.
Correct.
Killer Demo says, got to cover, run to the outside. We get gashed, big on the runs to the left or the right. Absolutely true. We're over pursuing, trying to make plays, and we're leaving big, huge holes. I did a breakdown on Khalil Mack, his different pass rush moves. And the defensive line in general, what we've done up until this point, and you can see that there are a lot of problems in terms of sealing the outside. California Scratcher, what's up, will to win? Who's worse, Heaney or Miles Burris? I don't think either one of them was a bad player. I think Miles Burris was a great player, misutilized, forced into the middle, couldn't play the middle of the field, and was let go. I thought Miles Burris was great. I thought Thomas Howard was great. I think we've had a lot of linebackers Napoleon Harris. I think we've had a lot of linebackers that we let go. That could have played for a long time. I think Ben Heaney is out of position. That's a coaching move. I don't think that has anything to do with the player themselves. And then Todd Gallegos, I'm not worried about Mac. He started slow last year, and then he just sort of disappeared. So do you have any thoughts on any of those things that the people brought up?
Absolutely.
The people.
First and foremost, I'm getting some feedback again here.
You shouldn't. There's no speaker.
I know, that's weird. I'm gonna quiet it down. Okay, there we go. I'm still getting a little bit, but it's okay.
Here, let me check. Hang on, maybe the back of it. Hang on.
All right.
Go ahead. Go ahead and talk.
First and foremost, thank you to everybody for the thoughts and concerns for my father. Yeah, it's a pretty iffy situation right now. I would be there if I didn't have my responsibilities as a father. I do have to pick up my daughter from school, but once I get my daughter, I'll be heading over there to check on my father. So once again, to everybody, thank you guys so much for the thoughts and well wishes. But moving on, yeah, the one that stuck out to me the most was the Heaney Burris type thing. Yeah, Burris, you touched great on Burris. He was played out of position. He was a great outside, weak side linebacker. When they moved him in the middle is where he lost his way. And I think they just pushed Heaney too much to be this middle linebacker. Why? Because dude, the guy is talented. Let's not mistake that. I mean, he lost his role. He had to come in for a play and he darn near got a sack. So, I mean, this guy has a spot on this team as maybe a situational pass rusher, or, maybe eventually, I've said it before, move Malcolm to the middle right now. Continue to develop Corey James and use Heaney as an outside linebacker, primarily maybe on the weak side, but maybe you try to move him over to the strong side. I mean, Heaney is only in his second year. This kid still has time to develop into something. And then if not, we move on. But I'm not going to overjudge him. As a starting middle linebacker, I will. It's horrible. We don't want to see him starting, 4 downs as a middle linebacker, but again, plenty of room for this team to grow. This is what this whole show's been about today. This show is to learn how to put the past behind us and focus on what's now and heading into the future, because it is bright, regardless of even what happens moving forward. I mean, everything is working out really well right now. We're a game over 500. The schedule's tough yet favorable moving forward, and this is gut check time for this Raider team. Are we as advertised? And only they can answer that question for us. There's nothing that I can say, Pirate can say, to make you fully believe that we're going to be a playoff team this year. That's up to these players and this coaching staff. And thus far, they're on point. I mean, even with the downloads and struggles that we've had, we're sitting at 2-1. We should be really, really positive. So today we got our pom-poms. We're cheerleaders today. It feels good because I think we all should feel good. I mean, when's the last time we've been able to sit here with this kind of optimism and this kind of brightness in our future? It's been quite a while.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let's go old school real quick, and let's just ask you a couple of questions and have you answer them, man. I think that's the biggest thing. We need Mack and Irvin as the outside linebackers. 3-4 seems to be the best lineup for us. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I like the fact of Mack being more interchangeable. They don't necessarily have to put him at linebacker. They could just move him all over. Like I just got done saying, I like that 3-4 look we came out with. It does gives us those options to move Mack around. So I agree. Bruce Irvin is already listed as the outside linebacker. We line him up wide on the defensive line. So the real answer, the real question for the linebackers for me, even in a 3-4, is making sure the right players are on the personnel's on the field. And I thought we had that with Irvin, with Corey James and Malcolm Smith. I like that look. I really do. You could run Mack back there, or you could even bring Heaney in at that point. There's a lot of interchangeable pieces that we could still work with. I don't want to get too crazy at this point. We don't want to play around with it too much. I think what we did last week was a good start. There might be a tweak or two here and there, but we were building on a little something there. I think the real issue at this point is not so much our linebackers. We've shown that if we go to that 3-4 look, we're going to be okay. It's really about figuring out the middle of this defensive line. Is it Williams? Is it Latham? Obviously, Ellis has struggled. He's an option, but I'd rather see a little bit more Williams. I'd rather see a little bit more Latham. I can't wait to get Mario Edwards Jr. back, but, we have to deal with what we have now, which to me, let's get a little bit more of Jihad Ward, who tweaked his knee, but then you got Calhoun. So there's a lot of pieces. I don't want to get to the point where we're trying so much to move too many things around, because then you're just watering down what it is you're trying to build. But it's looking up. I mean, I still say at the middle linebacker spot, it's going to be a struggle all season. it's something you can't fix
Okay.
overnight. Go ahead.
We got an email here. Who is the defensive leader on this particular football team? That's a good question, actually. We've got some youth, we've got some veterans that we've brought in, but in your opinion, who is the defensive leader at this point?
Man, that is a real tough question because the defense has
That's a
struggled
good
so
one.
much. In this certain situation, when you look at what we've been able to do defensively, your defensive leader, obviously it will continue to be Khalil Mack. I know that hasn't produced the numbers we want him to see, but again, there's something to be said when you're being doubled and triple teamed. You're freeing up some of these other guys. They need to make plays, and he's still the focal point of this defense. So, I mean, he's also a captain. Outside of Mac, though, I'm gonna have to give it to the guy who makes the most plays, and that's David Amerson. I mean, this guy is consistent. He's a playmaker. Uh, he's leading by example, and that's what you want from your leaders. It's one thing to be able to talk the talk, but if you ain't walking the walk, man, it's a moot point. So I'll have to say David Amerson for me because he's walking the walk, man.
Okay, we got another one here. Can this young defense continue to hold up as we get late into the season? So I think what he's trying to say is, as we start facing teams, like Andrew Luck, even this week, Joe Flacco, Wallace, things like that, or even Phillip Rivers. I think he's trying to say, yeah, we did something good against Tennessee, but can this matchup continue to hold up deep into the season against probably more talented competition?
Well, that's another tough question because I don't have a crystal ball, but I think they showed such a great improvement from the first 2 weeks into the third week. We're onto something here, but we have to also understand that there's a lot of young players mixed in on this defense. So we're definitely going to have some huge bumps in the roads. There's going to be some learning curves. There're going to be some moments where these young guys are going to have to watch a lot of film to correct their mistakes. But we saw Jack Del Rio and Ken Norton really piece this thing together last season, and we finished strong. So I have total faith that they'll be able to hold up. And like Pirate mentioned earlier in the show, you got a lot of young talent, but you got a lot of seasoned veterans sprinkled out on each layer that I think is going to be the glue that keeps us together. So I guess my ultimate answer, even though I don't have a crystal ball, is yeah, I think not only will it hold up, but I think it will actually improve.
All right, and this one came earlier this morning. I'm just seeing this right now. My phone went off, but TL says franchise quarterback Aaron Rodgers among NFL's elite at making opponents jump off sides and gets multiple extra plays. Carr doesn't know how or is not willing to get the defense to jump off sides and give us a free play. He uses the same cadence for every snap on the ball, which I disagree with. Until he learns how to use the special skills, he will not be a franchise quarterback, which obviously I disagree with. He's a franchise quarterback right now. But when he gets better, until he learns how to use that special skill, he will not be a franchise quarterback, but he is better than we have had in a long time. First point in the entire email that I agree with you, TL. Carr doesn't change the snap count. Carr don't hard count defenses. No free plays like Rodgers. Carr is not franchise quarterback yet, makes too many mistakes. If you don't mind, I'd like to answer this email myself. If you don't mind. I mean, if you have your thoughts on it, then
go ahead. I'm going to step aside real quick. I got to do something, but go ahead and answer it.
Okay. Yeah. I think Derek Carr has tried many times to get in these last 3 games, several times to try to get the offensive line to jump offside. He's used the hard count. Defenses have been extremely disciplined up until this point. And again, once again, if you take a look, Dennis Allen knew what we were going to try to do. Gus Bradley is a proponent of having a disciplined defense. And obviously, Dick LeBeau is not going to have guys jumping into the neutral zone in the middle of a game and give up 5 yards. That's what these guys are known for. We've faced some really good defensive minds up until this point. And say what you want about Dennis Allen. Dennis Allen is a good defensive coordinator, much like Wade Phillips is a good defensive coordinator, not a good head coach, much like Norv Turner is a good offensive coordinator, not a great head coach. And we can see that even in Minnesota. So, once again, Aaron Rodgers this, Aaron Rodgers that. The bottom line is you do what you can. You put yourself in a position where if you need to get those cheap 5 yards, you try as hard as you can to get those. I disagree, though. However, Derek Carr is obviously a franchise quarterback. He's the face of this particular franchise, and he's doing a fairly good job. Like Knight said, almost 1,000 yards already. Early on, 3 games into the season. If you extrapolate that out, you're looking at a 5,000-yard season, which is not, in any stretch of the imagination, something that cannot be accomplished, particularly with the wide receivers and the running attack that he has. I think the only thing that holds Derek Carr back is the fact that he is in a take what the defense gives you type of offensive philosophy. Now, if you remove that and you say, okay, go out there and attack like Aaron Rodgers does, Aaron Rodgers is not taking what the defense is giving him. Excuse me. Don't get it twisted. Aaron Rodgers is going out there, and he has the heart of a Raider. He's going out there, and he's taking what he wants. The great Al Davis said, we are not going to take what the defense gives us. We are going to take what it is that we want, and what we want is touchdowns and to just win, baby. And that's the bottom line. And I've said this before. Derek Carr was brought in under a regime that took care of him, coddled him, made him check down, made him feel comfortable. And that's been a good thing. And slowly he's beginning to come out of his shell. And we saw that in this last game. Come out, take some shots down the field. You've got the weapons. You've got the referees on your side. You've got the rules at this point. The NFL is going to call pass interference on some of these deep balls. So you can do all of these types of things. But to sit here and to say, oh, well, he's not a franchise quarterback because he doesn't, mix up his snap count. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. Ludicrous. And I'll call ludicrous. We love our fans. We love the people that come in and have good content and good debates and good things like that. We're not going to argue with you, but I love people that come in and bring up these types of points because they're important points to bring up. I mean, the bottom line is if you cannot see that Derek Carr is a franchise quarterback, then maybe you're just spinning your wheels and you'll come up with any. I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm never going to change your mind. What I'm trying to do is make sure that the majority of people that are listening to our broadcast get it. They understand it. There's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 people that either come in because they're a fan from another team because the tags that we put for our SEO. Jerry has done some really good things and made our SEO to where we get we're this week we're going to get Baltimore Raven fans and they're going to come in and they're going to thumbs down. They're going to be like, this program sucks. Okay. They're going to come in and they're going to come, oh, you guys are there. All right. Hey, it's all good. To our real fans, to our core fans, to the people that we're bringing in, we want to make sure that you guys get it. We want to give you guys the information, and we want to have a dialogue with you guys and talk about these types of things. But we're not trying to change your mind. We're not here to try to change your mind. It ain't going to happen. We're not going to change your mind. It's like the presidential debates. You guys are going to believe in, one or the other. I don't care about you if you don't agree with me. It doesn't. I mean, I'm not saying I don't care about you as a fan. I'm just saying I know that I'm not going to change your mind. If you don't believe in Derek Carr, if you think Derek Carr is a terrible quarterback, there's nothing I can say that's going to change that. But to all the people that do want to sit there and say, wow, this kid has come in. He's turned this franchise around. He's part of a youth movement, a rebuilding movement, and a commitment to excellence. If you can't see that, man, what am I going to do? Who am I to try to freaking brainwash you or change your mind on that? You know what I mean? You've seen Derek Carr. You watched a lot of his games in college. You watched his games now in the NFL. I mean, how do you change somebody's mind? How do you go in there and say, the sky is purple when everybody else knows that the sky is blue? How do you do? I don't even know how to go about doing that.
Again, You've already answered that question. You just simply can't. That's the whole old school conversation of Pepsi or Coke, right? I mean, you're going to have your personal preference, and that's that. The thing with Derek Carr, and I didn't get to catch everything you had to say. I had to go take care of something, but
No problem.
just my point of view of it though is pretty simple, guys. I think there's been so much pressure actually thrown on Derek Carr, being a starting rookie, second round pick in his first year, that and he's got so much credit, so much love from all media sources here, everywhere, that the expectation for Derek Carr sometimes is a little too high. We tend to forget that.
But Knight, the question is this. The question is this. Is it unwarranted love, or is it like this kid has come in and did everything that you could possibly ask this kid to do?
Oh, dude, hands down. I mean, this guy has consistently improved his game. He's turned this franchise around. Yeah, you could look at year 1, 3 wins. Yeah, I mean, this guy was a straight rookie with no talent. In the year 2, they gave him just some talent, some rookies, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And he turns around and he wins 7 games, and he throws for over 3,000 yards and only 12 picks and 24 touchdowns, or whatever it was, 30 touchdowns, right? Whatever. The point is that he's already off to a great start. And there's one thing that I've seen from Derek Carr that is essential to be a franchise quarterback, and that's ability to lead not only on the field, but off the field. These guys love him. They listen to him. He's always has a cool demeanor. You can't teach that. There's plenty of quarterbacks, tons of quarterbacks that have all this. Look at some of these guys that,
Cutler.
How about a Jay Cutler? Yeah, you took the name right out of my mouth. Jay Cutler, all the talent in the world, horrible leader. The guy's, he can't lead on the field or off the field. Jeff George, right? Even a guy like Dante Culpepper, in my opinion, there's plenty of guys out there that got all the skill set in the world, but can't lead.
What about the guy, the Jets guy that gets punched in the face by a linebacker on his team? I mean,
right? Yeah.
What was that guy's name? Yeah, I know. I can't think of his name either, man.
That's how irrelevant.
Flash in the pan. Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
But at the same time, I mean, to go back to the real question here is, can I change your mind? No. All I could do is tell you my thoughts and my opinions. If that changes your mind, hey, good. But that's not what we're trying to do here. I think, this is why I was bringing up the point. I think everybody puts the expectations sometimes just a tad bit too high. This is year 3. This is his come out year. When you talk about cadences, I mean, this guy is still trying to put together the offense and build the right kind of chemistry with Amari Cooper. For the first time since he's been here, we're actually developing a running game. And when you look at the running game, it's been explosive, not necessarily consistent. When you look at our numbers, we were talking about it just yesterday. There's a lot of explosive runs. You take away those explosive runs, our average is still kind of low. So, but we have the talent there. And once that running game becomes more consistent along with its explosiveness, Carr's going to be able to do those things that you're talking about, use cadences, because they're going to be on their toes. This offense ain't there yet. That's the beauty. That's kind of like the whole point of the show about the future. Everything is lining up. It's all starting to come. It's not there yet. So to say that it's not there yet, but yet we're 2-1 and we're a top 5 offense and our defense may be struggling, but we're winning football games. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Guarantee you by the end of this season, we're all going to be in awe of what the numbers that Derek Carr put up, the wins he put up, and it's just going to get better moving forward.
Well, and like I said, I mean, I think I don't like to argue with the fans. I don't like to argue with other people's opinions because that's their opinion. I'm not going to make you believe something is something you don't believe. That's why I love people like Money Man Raider. I love people that actually call in and they say, "Hey man, let's have a conversation. Let's talk it out. Let's go back and forth." I'm not trying to make you believe anything, but if you seriously believe that Derek Carr is not a franchise quarterback because he doesn't get people to jump off sides, we really don't have anything to talk about. You know what I mean? Like there's no, I don't know where that even comes from or what makes that, if there were a quarterback in the Hall of Fame right now that had 7,000 offside penalties, let's say, for example, let's say you got Sammy Baugh was a master of making people jump off sides. He didn't throw for very many yards. He didn't throw for very many touchdowns, and he didn't win a lot of games. But he had 7,000 of it, And if you time 7,000 by 5 yards, and you look at it, he had all these different first downs and this and that. Okay, we'd have something to talk about. But that stat doesn't exist. It's the same thing as the best play action quarterback in the world. This guy, let me tell you a little bit about Boomer Esiason. Boomer Esiason had the best play fake of any quarterback ever. The defense never knew, when he put that ball into the running back's hands, you never knew if he had the ball, if he was rolling out. He was the best play action guy in the whole. I don't care. You know what I mean? So he's not playing anymore. That didn't help him win a Super Bowl. That didn't help his team. He was a tactician at that particular thing. Brad Johnson may go to the Hall of Fame. Trent Dilfer, God forbid, may go to the Hall of Fame. Some of these guys that happen to win a Super Bowl that were not great quarterbacks may go to the Hall of Fame, while great players like Kenny Stabler, it may take them a very long time. Why? Because people are obsessed with the fact that they won big, they did this, they did that. I got into a conversation with somebody about Rich Gannon as opposed to Derek Carr. Derek Carr's in his third year. He's breaking records. In 3 years, Rich Gannon never did anything. He bounced around from team to team because they wanted him to be a safety. Terrell Pryor style, go out there, run a deep out, come back, do this, do that, tackle this guy, tackle that. No, I want to be a quarterback. All right, well, then you're going to be the third string quarterback. You'll be our emergency guy. We're not going to suit you up. You can't play. You can't help us, kid. We're sorry. Derek Carr is in there willing this team to win, jumping over people, doing different types of things. So once again, I'm not going to convince those people that they're wrong. And, that's not the point. But for the people that do have an open mind, the people that do watch football, that's what we're here to do, man. We're here to entertain you guys. We're here to educate you guys. We're here to talk to you guys and, put these types of things out there. So again, I'm taking up a lot of time here. A few more questions before we have to go here because we got Geno Smith was the guy. So big props to Albert. Thank you so much, Albert, for that. Okay. Hayden had a good game. Yeah, Hayden had a good game. Marcel Reese is gone, so, once again, Watts Raider, we appreciate you. You know what I'm saying, bro? We're done with that. We're done with Marcel Reese at this point. Go watch stuff on Raiders.com. Go watch stuff on all the other channels that have stuff out there. You all day long, there's going to be people that are talking about it. We got to move forward. Trent Dilfer played at Fresno State. Who's better, Carr or Trent Dilfer?
Well, there's a lot to be said there. I mean, the difference right now, and the reason I'll say Carr is because Trent Dilfer's story is already over. Dilfer's done. Carr's just getting started. Now, you're talking about a guy in Dilfer who won a Super Bowl primarily off his defense. But he's a great quarterback mind. He has it upstairs. He never was able to put it fully together. He had one incredible season and then he's done. Carr's pretty much already done that, in my opinion. You look at his numbers, like Pirate just said, he's setting records. And again, we're not trying to change everybody's mind. And I know we're totally pumping up Carr right now, but he's deserved it. He's deserved it. And it's just a matter of time before he has a chance to get to that threshold. We don't know who Derek Carr is going to be in the playoffs because he's never been there, but mark my words, he will be there. He will be there. And then we'll go from there. He's grown so much. There's a lot of things that Carr had to work on. And there's still a lot of things that Carr has to work on. But what impresses me the most, and this is my final thought on this one when it comes to Carr, is he continues to improve on those things that we question. We question him all the time, and he continues to step up and prove us wrong, and he can do these things. He is standing there taking hits. He is able to read defenses. He is able to spread the ball around. He is able to throw the deep pass, the short pass. He can turn it on and off whenever he wants to. The biggest thing for me, Carr needs to just calm his adrenaline down, and he will in time. He will in time. I get exasperated talking about Carr because once again, you definitely get into that mind frame where you do want to change someone's mind. You want to reach to the computer and be like, what are you not getting? But at the end of the day, we also understand Pepsi and Coke, right? We're not going to change your mind, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm superior.
And I want to say one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to say one thing. For those of you that are watching, that's the craziness of the live broadcast. There, my wife was just leaving. She was telling me, "Okay, I'm going to leave." She blew me a kiss, so I blew her a kiss as she was going out. So if you kind of saw that, it was like, "Hey, I'll see you later. I love you. Goodbye." I will say this one thing. I will say this one thing. Our job, again, is not to come on here and to change anybody's mind, change anybody's opinion. We believe in free speech. We believe in letting you believe what you want to believe, say what you want to say. We have an open community. We discuss this, and that was one thing that I have to give to Jason. You know, when we sat down and we talked about doing this show so many moons ago, back in the early days, I guess.
Yeah, the early days, right?
It was important for us to make sure that people had their own forum, that they could come to a place they could talk, they could say what they want to say. And we believe in that. We believe that you guys have your own opinions and you see things in your own way. And we are not trying to change anybody's mind. However, I will put one caveat in there. Okay. It's hard. I don't know how to phrase this, but I will say it like this. When there is a good man standing up for a good thing, giving 100%, doing the things that we need him to do, being a leader on a football team, making plays. I don't think people quite understand every single time it's a 3rd and long and he's got to make a play. He's making those plays more often than not. Now he's conditioned to go to the check down, but when he has to, he's making those plays. I will say this, man. I do want, and once again, understand this is at the foundation of what we believe when we started this show. We do not want to brainwash anybody or make anybody believe what we believe. That's not part of the deal. This is your place. You can come. You can have your own opinion. You can say whatever you want to say. Please respect the guests, like I said. You know, but you want to attack us for our content. You want to come after that. Hey, that's fine, man. We welcome that. I'm going to say this one thing. This is a good man. This is a loyal man. This is a man that very much wants this team to win, wants to play for Oakland, wanted to come here, wanted to turn this franchise around. I would actually go out there and try to change your opinion, which is something that we don't try to do. But I would actually sit there and I would argue with somebody tooth and nail that this is a good man, this is a good quarterback, and he's the guy that's going to turn this franchise around. It ain't going to be Tywan Jones. It ain't going to be Marcel Reese. It's not going to be Latavius Murray. It's not going to be X, Y, and Z. This kid came from college. Somehow we got a hold of him. He's been improving every single year. It looks like he may be improving this year. And once again, this running game, I watched the game again. In a week, maybe I might watch the game 3 or 4 times, and then I'll break down some film on the 11-on-11 film or the all-22. I'll break that stuff down. But this running game now, let me tell you something, man. This kid is just going to blossom because we are now looking at it like it's no big deal. Yeah, we ran the ball for 123 yards, but it wasn't a great day. Yeah, we ran the ball for 150. Do you know that we're running the ball for more yards than our opponents are? Right? I mean, do you understand that right now, even though we're horrific on defense in terms of stopping the run, that we are dominating in the rushing column? So he's only going to get better. And again, I'm rambling at this point. I'm just going to say this right now. The forum is free. You're free to believe what you want. But I'm almost like one of those people that's out there that's just like, no, you don't understand. You're dying. And we can help you. And they're like, no, I'm just going to pray. I'm going to pray. No. There's a new medicine that can help. No. I'm going to, no, there's something you're not seeing this. We should cut off your arm. You're dying of gangrene. It's eating away at you and you're going to die. No. It's that guy that's on the roof of his house. You sent 3 boats to him. He said, "Hey, come on, get in the boat." No, 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 no. I'm waiting for God. No, get in the boat. No, 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 no. Wait. And then he dies. He goes to heaven, and God says, "Man, I sent you 3 boats." We're not sitting here saying Khalil Mack is the best player in the history of the NFL, but I will tell you one thing: the Raiders are awfully lucky to have this kid Derek Carr at the helm of this franchise. And if you don't see that, or you have a problem with it because of race, color, creed, whatever it is, let it go. Let it go. And like I said, we're 99% of the time I ain't going to try to change your mind. 99.9% of the time I will not try to change your mind. And this came up in the comments last night. Like I said, everybody's welcome here. There's that 0.1%. You attack somebody, you attack one of our guests, you attack this, you attack that. That's just not cool. It's wrong, and you have to stand up for those types of things. But I don't want to turn it negative. I love everybody that comes on. I love all of our supporters. I love all the people that watch Raider football, and I get it, man. We've been losing for a long time. We want a winner. This kid, he's a winner. And the sooner we get behind this kid, the better off this football team is going to be. Night.
No, absolutely. And that's the key. I will say this, and this is the one thing that I was confident on Reggie McKenzie, and I'm confident on Carr. And I honestly will tell you, I truly believe there's not going to be a day I'm going to have to come on here, barring injury only. Injury-free Derek Carr will win a Super Bowl. I'm just gonna put it out there. He will win a Super Bowl, and it's not just Carr, by the way, guys. I mean, it's guys like Cooper, Washington, this offensive line, Walford, Crabtree. It's not all done by Derek Carr, but he is going to be that kind of franchise. He is more than a game manager. He is more than he's even more than an elite quarterback because he's elite off the field. You cannot find these guys. Look how long it's been. Look how long it's been. It's been since Jim Plunkett. Rich Gannon was great. We had him for a course of 3 or 4 years. It wasn't enough time. He was at the end of his rope. Derek Carr is just getting started. This is going to be the first thing, even outside of Jim Plunkett. Derek Carr is the first thing since Kenny Stabler that's going to win us a lot of football games and bring us a few championships. I really, truly believe that. And I might have to eat crow in the championship part of it. I don't have a crystal ball, but this guy's going to be so. One hell of a quarterback.
I don't think so. If he doesn't win it with us, once again, they tried to say that he was going to be like his brother. He hasn't been like his brother. They tried to say he couldn't stand in there under pressure. If you look at the Fresno State USC game, obviously Fresno State was overmatched. And if you look at, the Patriots against the Giants, the Patriots were overmatched, and Tom Brady looked like he didn't know what the hell he was doing, right? If you look at Phillip Rivers, again, he had a bunch of pressure on him against the Indianapolis Colts. He looked like he was overmatched. So at the end of the day, if you take footage of Fresno State against USC, is that a great indicator? No, it's not a great indicator. Can you glean certain things from that? Yes. You can look at the Buffalo game where, Khalil Mack played against Pac-10 competition and he dominated, or SEC competition and he dominated. And you could say maybe that might, prove to be something that we can look at in the future. But I don't think that you take a kid that has played, multiple years in a college system, has gotten better every single year, and then say he can't get any better at the pro level. I think it's asinine and ridiculous that people were actually saying he's going to be like his brother.
He's already surpassed that. He's already surpassed.
Exactly. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning are different. Peyton Manning was a better quarterback. Eli Manning has more Super Bowls, right? Or maybe they're at the same number of Super Bowls. But the bottom line is that Eli Manning probably didn't have the same type of talent that Peyton Manning had. So once again, I don't think you're off base at all. I think this guy, if he doesn't win it with us, he's going to win it somewhere else. He's a good quarterback. This guy's going to win a Super Bowl. This guy's got the talent, the integrity. When he came into the Raiders and said, you know what, I'm going to be the same guy, win or loss. I see Jack Del Rio. Jack Del Rio looks like he's, somebody killed his puppy, right? You see him when we got to win. Oh man, he's smiling. Hey, we got to. You see him in a loss. He's got those bulgy eyes, and he doesn't know quite who he's going to yell at, what he's going to do. You see Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is the same guy. He understands, man. You know what? We lost. We're not gonna take this with us next week. Like you pointed out in an episode earlier on, he goes back to those receivers that dropped the ball.
Right.
He gives them an opportunity once again to make another play. And that's all that you can ask, man. And that's why, like I said, I will go outside the bounds of what we established as Channel 4 for one person and one person only. I won't do it for Khalil Mack. I'm not going to do it for Khalil Mack. I don't know what Khalil Mack's standards are, what he, if he's going to jump ship, if he's going to want $100 million, if he's going to hold out, if he's going to put his own interest before the team. I already know that's not going to happen with Derek Carr. And anybody that says that it is ridiculous. They don't know what they're talking about. Look at what the man has done. Look at what the man has said. Look at what the man stands for. We should all be rallying behind this guy at this point. And, once again, like I said, I think he's going to win a Super Bowl for sure, whether it's with us or not, whatever. All right, real quick before we go. It doesn't matter what people think about Carr. At the end of the day, he still needs to make those tough throws, still needs to be smart with the ball and be accurate so that he puts him in a line for success. That's what Albert says. Once again, Albert, I think you're missing the point. No, he doesn't. Even if he commits a bunch of turnovers and he pulls out a win in the fourth quarter, the guy's heart's in the right place. His mind is in the right place. Whether you want him ugly or you want him clean, the fact of the matter is that you go out there, you put it all on the field, and you do what it takes to win, to change the culture, and to change the direction that this ship was sailing in.
But no,
this
that
guy's
was
already a winner.
That was a good point to make a point. So let's make this correction, and I'll say this.
Wait, hang on. Go ahead. Go ahead and handle that. I'll be right back. Go ahead.
Let's say this statement about that particular thing. There's a difference between Derek Carr doing everything that you mentioned, Albert, which, there's always room for improvement in every category for every football player. But there's a difference between expecting Derek Carr to be the greatest of all time or just being great. And the only thing that I see and I'm talking about right now is Derek Carr is going to be a great franchise quarterback. I'm not looking at this point for Derek Carr to be in conversations with Joe Montana or Dan Marino. I'm solely just talking about Derek Carr being a great quarterback. So if he does everything that you just said and perfects his deep pass, his accuracy and decision-making and all that stuff, that will put him in a different catalyst. So we're talking about one of the greatest of all time. I'm just talking about him just being a great franchise quarterback. He already has those tools. Pirate,
I think like you said, yeah. Well, just really quick to chime in on that. I mean, I think, like I said, I think he's already done those things. He's already showing that he can come back in the fourth quarter. He could win games. He can make tough throws. He can make 2-point conversions. His coach can call in, "Hey man, it's all on you," and he can do those types of things. Again, I just think it's more or less like we're always putting something out in the future that we don't necessarily need to look at as a future type of occurrence. We're seeing it now. We're seeing it in this season. We're 2-1, not because of Derek Carr's mistakes, but because of what Derek Carr has done in terms of converting and doing those types of things. So, we ran a little bit long. So,
right.
Yeah.
No. And
this was like an after show.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's fun. We had a little bit of time to do this, so that's why we chose to go live. And one final thought, and I've always said this, and this goes to you, Albert. I'm not trying to change your mind, Albert. You make some good points. Those are always things that you as a player, you want these guys to improve on everything. But what I'm saying is, if he could be perfect and do those kind of things all the time, there's no point to play the game. There's just no point to play the game. He's going to make mistakes. He has made those kind of throws. He's made those kind of decisions, and he's not made those kind of throws. That makes him human. So I've seen more positive than negative. Anyways, Pirate, my clock is ticking. My phone's rang a couple of times. Go ahead and give your final thoughts, and I'll bring us out of here.
Yeah, to everybody that watched us, man, we appreciate it. Once again, we appreciate everything that you guys are doing, and this is kind of a weight off both of our shoulders. Knight having his dad, what's going on with him, not having a lot of time. Normally, it takes us an hour to 2 hours to edit stuff. It's only 1 o'clock. It's coming up on 1 o'clock right now. He's got to get back to the hospital for his dad. I got stuff that I, kind of have to do, working on the show and doing different types of things. Once again, we appreciate everybody that watches the show. Like, subscribe, man. We're already at 3,100 subscribers. So you guys are doing an excellent job. Shout out again. I keep forgetting to do this, but shout out again to all of our Facebook. I wrote it down, 160,000 different people that have the ability to kind of watch this show. Not everybody's going to like it. Not everybody's going to subscribe. Not everybody's going to be totally jazzed about a couple of guys talking about their own opinions. We totally get that. But for those of you guys that do, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody. Everybody that comments, everybody that watches, man. We do it for you guys. And yeah, that's and once again, Knight, hopefully your dad, is doing better. And again, I just want to say, you even in a situation like this, you continue to come in and you continue to come up and put up great content. And I appreciate that. I know people will disagree with me. I know you got a lot of fans. Most of your fans are just like, "Hey, Knight, I love you, man. The other guy, whatever it is." But that's all right, man. That's okay. You know what I mean? Like, I'm brand new to this, and I may say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing or whatever. But obviously, I'm riding on your coattails, and I appreciate, the fact that you do all the things that you do on a daily basis. I just want to commend you for that, and put it out there. Yeah, man, it's a good thing, and it's enjoyable, man. We love doing this. We love talking, and we may be wrong, we may be right, but we will see.
No, and once again, Pirate, thank you for the kind words and the thoughts on my father. And trust me, man, I've been doing this for 3 years. The fans that follow me, that's been watching me from day one. I mean, it took time. I mean, trust me, I still get my attacks in the comment section where people want to pick on certain things about me or things that I say. But you've built up your own fan base too, man, and you're doing a wonderful job. I mean, the way that you've taken this channel to the level that you have, that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's really goes to the man behind the computer over there.
Man,
I mean,
come on now.
No, seriously, dude.
Oh my God.
You've literally raised the level of what it is that we do here, and you make my voice be heard even in a better way. So I thank you and appreciate everything that you do from night to day. Here we are, just patting each other on the back right now. So
yeah, I know. Yeah,
thank you.
Weird. That's kind of weird.
Kind of no,
a little bit of a weird segue there, man.
No homo. No homo.
But I just want, I just like I said, let me just step in real quick, because again, there were some conversations back and forth last night, and we love everybody that's in our comment section, man. I really do. I love my sister Champy. I love Gray Fox. I love, if I said something out of line, then it is what it is. It was a joke. Sometimes we do those types of things. We love all of our community. But I'm not. We didn't decide to do this. This is completely spontaneous. But I'm going to say something right now. This man right here, like I said, man, comes on. He's got a disability. Now he's going to say he's handy capable. He says that all the time. Every time I call him up, he's like, "I'm handy capable." I'm like, "I'm looking for Jason." He's like, "I'm handy capable." I'm like, "All right, Jason." But this is a guy that understands that he's got a disability and has found a way to not have that get in the way of what it is that he's passionate about and what he wants to do, which is bring news and commentary to the Raider Nation. So I want to give it up. Like I said, man, this is not scripted. We're not coming out here like, "Oh, we'll get to the very end and we'll say this is 100% the truth." I just want to say that what this guy is doing is extremely difficult to do. When we sat down, we talked about running a show, having a daily show, having a weekly show, and the daily show didn't come until farther in. But what he's doing, all of this started from the fact that he wanted to do something more. And, for anybody to attack that or to say anything in the negative, that he's that 1% where I'm like, come on, man, the guy's doing the best that he can. He's producing. So I just wanted to say once again, man, I appreciate what you're doing. I know how hard it is. I know how, on a daily basis, we have responsibilities, but we come here every day. We talk about what we're going to do. We film it. We craft it. We work with people to really help us out and to grow. And I just want to give you props, man. And that's, Yeah, that's that, man.
Well, I really do appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody out there, man, that's been with me for 3 years. I appreciate the old and the new. This has been a lot of fun. This is exactly what I envisioned for myself. No point intended when I say envisioned, for myself, because, it's, I have a good sense of humor about it. I understand I have a disability, and beyond my disabilities, I have a daughter that I raise on my own. So I have a lot on my plate, but I love doing this. And, we're going to end it with this because you guys are so loving. Most of you are so loving and understanding about my disabilities. I thought I would end the show a little old school, if you will. So just give me a second.
Oh, here we go. Oh, he's going to put on the glasses.
Oh, what's up,
you know
y'all?
what, man?
Right.
I know. You know what? Hey, listen. I know where that came from. We had the after show. We talked about how Watts Raider came in, laid it down, dropped the mic, walked out with the two beautiful women, got into the stretch limousine. I think you got a little bit challenged at that point. I think you were just like, hey, wait a minute.
I had to kick it up a notch, and I saw my shades lying there, and I have to have them in the sunlight.
Is there any way for you to get like rhinestones put on that bad boy, like all up along the top, maybe silver rhinestones or something like that, where you could get, man, I see it already. That's what you need to do, dude. That's what you need to do. Get some silver rhinestones. Yeah, man. Pit those
some Al Davis bling bling on them or something.
Oh, right? Yeah, there you go. Yep, some owls on the side of those.
I feel you. All right, though. That's going to have to wrap it up. I have to get ready to get my daughter. I got to get to the hospital. Once again, much love to everybody out there, old and new. For you guys who don't understand what's going on here, this is my old look. This is the Oakland Knight from the old Knight of the Shield days. I got my shades on. So for the Raider Pirate, I'm the Oakland Knight. This has been brought to you by the Will to Win broadcast. And stay Raider strong. Night out.